Leonardo da Vinci, literally named Leonardo of Vinci, was born in a small village outside of Florence, Italy. His father was Ser Piero da Vinci, and his mother was a peasant named Caterina. He began his training as an artist, working as an apprentice to a Verrocchio. In the studio, he often copied works of the master, as well as painting collaboratively with him. The Adoration of the Magi is a significant work of art done by Leonardo from this point in his life. After a run-in with the law, he decided to move to Milan. He was commissioned to build a lyre, which is a harp-like instrument, for the Duke of Milan, Ludovico Sforza, who lived in a very ornate castle. While in Milan, he was commissioned to do his most famous piece of work, the Last Supper, which exists in the Santa Maria del Brasi Cathedral. Leonardo also developed his skills as an architect. He submitted drawings for the Milan Cathedral that was going to be built. His drawings were not selected, however, they still exist today in his notebooks. This is the Milan Cathedral today. You can imagine how different it would look if the dome had been included. Another significant painting from his time in Milan is the portrait of Cecilia Gallerani, commonly known as the Lady with an Ermine. All told, he spent almost 2 decades in Milan and did a great majority of his works there. Milan celebrates Da Vinci with dedicated museums, exhibits, and statues today. His Vitruvian Man was even selected as a design that appears on some of the euro coins. Sadly, his time in Milan came to a close when the French army invaded and arrested his patron, Duke Sforza. The sculpture of the warhorse was not completed. The clay form that would have been cast in bronze had been destroyed by the invading forces. Leonardo fled his beloved Milan and went to Venice. Upon arrival in Venice, Leonardo developed an intense rivalry with Michelangelo, who was receiving more commissions. It seemed that Leonardo developed a reputation as an artist who often did not complete his work, as evidenced in his portrait of Isabella d'Este and the incomplete Virgin and Child with Saint Anne. Leonardo then turned his focus to engineering and being a military architect. He invented many mechanisms of war, from armored tanks to crossbows, to bridges for crossing swiftly, and his very famous flying machines, helicopters, and wings. None of Leonardo's flying inventions actually left the ground, but he was inventing flying machines almost 300 years before the Wright brothers took flight. Leonardo eventually left Venice. He traveled around Italy, returning to Milan, going to Mantua, and eventually settling in Rome. While in Rome, Leonardo worked in the Vatican. He was arrested and charged with witchcraft and necromancy, resulting from evidence supplied by his assistants. The majority of the accusations were based off his anatomical drawings. Most horrifying were the depictions of dissected pregnant women and fetuses. Also brought to bear against him was the evidence of his backward or mirrored writing. He was eligible for execution for these crimes, and likely would have been had it not been for his genius and contributions in the arts and sciences. He wrote, "The 120 chapters composed by me will give judgment in which I have been impeded neither by avarice nor by negligence, but only by time. Farewell." After his trial in Rome, he was invited to live in Amboise, France by King Francis I, his greatest patron of all. Leonardo spent his time as the king's close advisor, and he lived out the rest of his life in the manner provided to him by the king.